I'm with Nabeel Hamouz, and we're talking about the escalation of violence in Gaza. Now, Israel have just assassinated Ahmed Jabri. Nabeel, who was he?
First of all, I would like to say we are all as Palestinians and also from the Israeli side and the Arab world, and I believe the whole world are really sorry to hear what is going right now in Gaza. Ahmed al-Jabari was one of the main leaders in Al-Qassam in Hamas. He died yesterday. He was assassinated in the afternoon, late in the afternoon, when he was in his car. But yesterday the attack did not just kill him, it killed him and one of another member in Hamas or two. Plus there was a lot of attacks on Gaza that until now we hear that 11 people have died in Gaza Strip. And of course Hamas did reply with some rockets which killed 5 people in Israel.
Now, is he a politician or is he a member of what Israel call a terrorist organization?
I wouldn't say he's a politician because he always say, I want to stay away from politics. One of his phrases was, I am like Abu Ammar. Abu Ammar have turned to a politician. Abu Ammar was a fighter and he called himself a fighter. I'll tell you a bit about Ahmed al-Jabari. He was arrested in 1982 and he was released out of prison in 1985. He have 3 children. One of them is dead. He was killed. His brother was killed as well, and he have another son who is right now in jail. So his background was basically full of what we call it in Palestine, a Palestinian who have been through, him and his family have been through the war, have been through the fightings and into the whole conflict. Another thing, Israel have called him, after the Gilad Shalit arrest, they called him the tough guy who actually can play the game.
Now, he was actually responsible for the Gilad Shalit kidnapping, wasn't he?
He was responsible because he was one of the main people who have wrote the plan for him, and plus he was following up. At some point, Hamas decided that he's going to be the leader of following up the time that Gilad Shalit was arrested until he was released. And even in the video that he was released, if you go and watch it, the guy who was standing on the right of Gilad Shalit, that was Ahmed al-Jabari.
Now, Israel call him a terrorist. Do you believe it is right for them to kill him?
Let's speak about Gaza. Gaza, before like a few years, there was a lot of killing. Israel was assassinating a lot of people, and they went into Gaza. Hamas was replying with a lot of missiles. But in the last year or so, Hamas have stepped up out of what they believe in, that we should fight and keep fighting to the point of we need to speak with our enemy. Hamas have decided to say, that's it, we need to speak with them, see if we can actually deal with the fact of, is there going to be a Palestinian state, is there going to be an Israeli state, that we should actually say it loudly and believe in it. So lately no one has heard that Hamas have been throwing rockets. So as we all know that lately Hamas didn't throw any rockets because they're looking for negotiation. Israel have planned the whole idea of killing al-Jabari. Now I believe it's wrong because obviously it's been planned by Israel to kill him, because they have, after the Gilad Shalit release, they promised that anyone has a hand in it, that it will get dealt with him. So surely it just shows that in one way or another, it shows that Israel are trying to find a way to start a new thing in Gaza that sadly is it just gonna affect the innocent people. It's not gonna destroy Hamas or just wipe them off the earth, and at the same time it's not gonna destroy Israel or the army, but as we see, a lot of innocent people are dying from both sides. And it's really terrible and scary for both sides that we hear a lot of people are running from Gaza and running from the areas in Israel near Gaza to find shelter.
Now, Israel would say that about 7 years ago they pulled out of Gaza for peace, and since they pulled out there's been constant rocket attacks into Israel. How would a Palestinian respond to that?
As a Palestinian, I would say 7 years ago, okay, they pulled out of Gaza, but rockets did not start after they pulled out of Gaza. We all know that Al-Qassam and Hawn used to be thrown in all over Palestine. in Gaza, even in the West Bank, in Bethlehem, as far as Bethlehem concerned. I know that town been throwing at Gilo from Bethlehem. Look, a lot of people are, debating towards that issue that, as a Palestinian, we are fighting for our right, fighting for our freedom, and that's our way. Some others would say, no, my way of fighting for my freedom is through politics and through actually discussing that with Israel. So each one have a way of, trying to find his freedom and his right to live, and it's believe that as Israel believe that this is the Holy Land, that it's belonged to us and to the Israeli nation. Still, like, we as Palestinians believe that this is our land. We lived here, and since we lived in this country. We've been kicked out of many places in this land, and we got to the point of want to live free. So this is one of the ways.
Now, a lot of the Hamas leadership are sort of in hiding at the moment. How did they know where he was in the first place? Obviously, they targeted his car, but how do they know where he is?
Israel is not stupid. The Shabak has been there for years, that they know exactly what to do. And Shabak is it's like, how do you explain the Shabak? It's like the FBI, you would say, or the CIA. They are very smart. Sadly, they use the Palestinians. Like, without the Palestinians, they wouldn't been able to do it. So surely they had a Palestinian inside the Gaza Strip, who knew where exactly every movement of Al Jabari in order to go and find him. We've seen videos of Al Jabari, how he died. So they know where he is, and of course he's not hiding. He's not the person who went and hid away and tried not to show his face. He's well known for Hamas and for Israel, and as I said, they used to give him names, and Israel even took some of his quote to teach in the army. This is a saying I heard from one of the leaders yesterday on TV, that he says, we use his quote to teach our soldiers what the Palestinians think and how they believe.
Now, Hamas have said this assassination will open the gates of hell. Do you believe this takes the conflict into a new level?
It has actually really taken it to a new level. Hamas came up with things that us, even as Palestinians, did not believe what we saw or heard yesterday. For example, Hamas have been throwing rockets at Sdoud, Beersheba, Kiryat Malachi, so many places that are around the Gaza district. But also yesterday, three times until now, Hamas have managed to reach Tel Aviv.
Now, actually reaching Tel Aviv is quite a big upping the ante, really, isn't it?
It is very big. It is very sad in a way to believe that we are moving into a war, and this is surely a war that no way that Israel will allow such a thing. You've reached Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is one of the main cities in Israel, as the Israeli says. So surely Israel have a big thing coming up for Hamas, and Hamas as well saying we still haven't showed the surprise that we have, because Hamas promised there's surprises coming up, and after the rockets that have hit Tel Aviv, they say that's not the big surprise. But let's talk about something else. We all know how Hamas deal with issues and how Israel deal with issues as far as the army concerned, but innocent people are dying in this conflict that I believe we should try to make a move. Let's get our voice to be heard. Like yesterday, a girl, she died. She's only 7 years old. I didn't want to put the video up on YouTube because it's a very sad video. She died in the arms of her father after he managed to, the rocket was throwing at her house, and he managed to get in the house. He was at work, came back, managed to get her out of her house, and then take her to hospital, and died in his arms, which is really sad. At the other side in Israel, 5 people were killed until now, and one of them is a lady. So of course we're not with killing either ladies, old men, kids. Also a 7-year-old kid was died in Gaza. A pregnant woman was hit this morning at 7 o'clock. You hear all the stories, and also an old man who's 65 years old. He was hit. He was farming in his land, and he was hit. So innocent people are dying, and it's a consequence of what's happening from both sides, Israel and Gaza. But this time, honestly, let's face it, it's not Hamas who started. Normally, on the media, on the news, on the radio, on TV, you hear Hamas started to throw rockets, so we are coming in return. Now, this time, it's a change. This time, Hamas have decided, no, we want to speak with the Israeli leaders. We want to try to deal with the whole conflict that's going on in Gaza and the whole Palestine. But Israel came in a very shocking way and assassinated this big leader who, for Hamas, he is such a guy that, they're not going to stay quiet after that.
Now, in the Palestinian area of Gaza, rockets are fired into Israel, and usually they don't really do much damage. And occasionally they do hit something. Of course, this morning they've hit an apartment block and 3 people have been killed. But don't the people who fire the rockets realize that Israel is going to strike back, and their rockets are sophisticated. They can kill 20 or 30 people. So can you blame the terrorists for what's going to happen to their own people, the Palestinians?
I can't really blame them, to be honest, because when yesterday I've read what Israel had a meeting after they've assassinated Al-Jabari, and there was 4 points for the reason of going into Gaza, and the last point was because of the rockets. So there was 3 main points before the point of throwing the rocket. So the rocket wouldn't be the reason why Israel would fire. Israel the military is ready. The military was ready even before the rockets was there. The military were ready to go into Gaza straight after they killed Al-Jabari. And even they said, we're gonna use the army who, there's the spare army they have on the side, even they called them to get themselves ready a day before, and we hear that on the news, and everybody was like, what's going on? My auntie works with the Palestinian government, and she had a meeting in Ramallah yesterday that they've said to the whole Palestinian policemen and the army, are you guys gonna be ready if war comes up? Because everybody is getting themselves ready, and my personal, my own point of view is that at the moment, I'm really sad to say that Israel war is not with Gaza. At the moment, they are practicing on Gaza, preparing themselves for a big war with Iran.
Now, Egypt withdrawn their ambassador from Tel Aviv, and of course, Egypt's new government is the Muslim Brotherhood, and Hamas are part of the Muslim Brotherhood. Do you think that Egypt could get involved in this as well?
I totally don't believe that. Morsi is a smart man. Of course, he's from the Muslim Brotherhood, yes. But the first thing he did yesterday is just showed Israel that he's not happy. As I would believe any other country, that they wouldn't be happy with. It doesn't have to be an Arab country, If you're not happy with Israel bombing Gaza right now, the first thing I would believe that they will, pull out any leaders in Israel. As far as Morsi, the first thing he did, he pulled the Egyptian ambassador, and the second thing he did, he called Obama. Yesterday he was on the phone with Obama talking to him about what's going on. So he is not trying to work on behalf of the Muslim Brotherhood, because he does not represent the Muslim Brotherhood at the moment. He said that many times since he stood up on the stage as the Egyptian president. He said, I represent Egypt, and Egypt represent peace. So the first move he did, of course, he pulled this guy. The second thing, he called Obama, said, okay, Obama, we need to deal with this issue. This issue is affecting both sides, Israel and Palestine. So it's a very smart move from him, and that we would see is going on. But other countries like Syria have sent 200 rockets to Gaza. It haven't arrived yet, so Israel are trying to see how they can stop it. Hassan Nasrallah from Hezbollah, he said he's getting himself ready for something big also. Iran are saying this is a very stupid mistake that Israel is doing right now. But again, this is not the big thing that Israel is doing. What's going on in Gaza at the moment is not the big thing. There's something bigger coming up. Scary and sad to say it, but we need just to watch out.
And finally, what's your prayer for the Holy Land, the conflict that's happening here at the moment, particularly in Gaza?
What I would like to say is for each one who's either listening, wherever you're at, whatever side you're with, I know a lot of people who are pro-Israel. It's up to you. A lot of people who are pro-Palestine also, it's up to you. I'm not there to judge you. But before we actually judge the people, we need to think about it. If it happens to us, like if I come back from work and I find my kid at home, and then the house is down on my kid, or my wife at home, and then I find out that this rocket came and hit my wife and she's dead now. You're missing the loved ones. That's the main thing that we all really put it as our priority. Our children, our wife, our family, our friends. We all have friends, we all have family, and if we just try to put ourselves in the position of the people in Gaza, also the people in Israel. I'm Palestinian, and I'm not pro-Israel. And I wouldn't say, I'm with Hamas. No, I'm not with Hamas as well. But if you think about it, I'm happy to see a good life coming up for my kids. I just wanna get married in the future and have kids that I know that they have a future, they have a plan, they have freedom in their country, because we are the only nation who lives in a ground that we don't have a country yet. We don't have freedom, we don't have rights. That we don't have something called the Palestinian rights. Now we have that in the United Nations under the books and stuff, but as a Palestinian who have a Palestinian ID, our own Palestinian money, no, we don't have all that. So I would like for people to understand the background that the Palestinians come from, because our background is really full of all this emotional parts of losing family and losing friends, and going under this struggle that a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. And we know struggles, and let's speak about the West. The way we deal with our issues is by going and drinking, and here it's a different issue, but it's the same. It's the same principle. It's the same thing. We go through issue, and some of us go through try to deal with it by I want to fight for my right, and some other people say no, I want to use my mind in order to fight for my right.
Okay, Nabeel, thank you very much.
You're welcome.